this is Manuel's drawing, and he asked for a critique, so I figured I'd go for it. All right, so the first and foremost thing that you've got going on is right off the bat, I'll tell you, is your perspective. Right now, if you draw perspective, you've got this going here, and then this one going over here, but then this goes way over here. If I follow just the two legs, you've got one going up here. This back leg doesn't have, but I would assume it's something like that. So you're running into the issue where your perspective, and I'm assuming this is your perspective horizon line. So that's the first problem that you have. The second problem is the 1 point perspectives generally tend to get pretty boring, in my opinion. You can do an occasional one that looks really good, but in all reality, they tend to look kind of boring. So what I would suggest right off the bat is to take and keep this 1 point perspective. The other problem I see too is just showing you real quick is this one goes here and this one comes over here. So you're not really matching any perspective. But so anyway, this is what I would do to try and fix this composition is start off with a perspective on a horizon line, something like this, and then we'll say that's my horizon, and then I'm going to just grab like so. I'm going to grab this one and put it up there, this one up here, and then I'm going to use what I'm going to do is first thing I would say right off the bat is you've got your base perspective in there. The first thing I would say right off the bat is grab this one, because look at the height difference on this. So I would grab this and I would move this up just to balance that out. All right, and then I'm going to grab this one here and transform that so it's roughly the same height. And I'm going to put it in the corner, something like this. Now, you want to get that scale in there. You see how this one's bigger, and you want that scale in there. That's going to be something that's really going to kind of push that aspect in there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this here, and I'll grab the little guy too. I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to transform it something like that, and that's going to be more angled towards the perspective points, and probably move it up just a hair. All right, and then I can go in and paint real quick this over. All right, and then the next thing I'm going to do is grab this here and move it over this way, transform it up a little bit, and make it so it's significantly bigger, and brush the points up over here. And I think that creates a little bit better silhouette. I get rid of these spires here. The problem with them is they're just kind of in the way. They don't really fit the idea. And then what I would do is I would add another one back here that finishes the corner of the box. And you can still get, the idea going on what you're working with. So I think that's I think a more dynamic composition, and then having this in the corner doesn't make, it's actually not that bad as far as pushing it back, pushing it forward. Now, the other thing I would tell you right off the bat is you have too much blue going on. You have the blue here, the blue here, the blue here, and the blue sky. So to kind of make this a little bit more interesting, what I would do is, and I'm just going to do this real quick with a select tool. So what I would do, and I'm doing a horrible selection job, but you get the idea. And just gonna grab some of this and alright. I want this. Okay, so alright, so what I'm gonna do here is actually create a, let's do a hue saturation. And I think simply by changing your color, and I would lower the saturation, and you can do any color you want. You know, even a dark purple, and then lower the lightness on there. More like stormy seas, because I see the big waves and stuff you have back here. So doing something like that, you know, getting that darker tone in there really is going to pop out your brushwork. Okay, and I think that's what you're kind of going for. And then what you can do is use these light blues, and I'm just going to kind of paint over this. I'm going to just add, kind of blend this in real quick, and you get the point. I'm blending this into you like this, so that then you can actually highlight these with lights, you know, of the reflection light that you're going for, and I think that makes your system pop a lot more. And then what I would do is, you know, look at scale, because in all reality, this is, you know, you want this almost as a secondary note. I would almost say, if you're going to do this, take this piece here and just scale it down a little bit. I think it's just a little bit too big. I mean, not much, but it's just a little bit too big. That, oops, up here, just paint over this. So it's just a little bit too big. That, you know, grab some of this darker tone there. All right, and I think that's a better concept. You know, I'm not fighting with this anymore. And then give this a little bit of your blue hue, like the light is reflecting off of it. And I think that's going to pop out your idea a little bit more. You know, I like this, but the problem is it follows everything too perfectly. Instead, take and go something like this. And you see, even if it's cutting off that other box, it's okay, because it's an overlapping piece. And then maybe even, you know, create like a tower here with some small pieces up here, spires, and that's going to help you kind of push into this feeling here. I would also run some cables flowing into this, you know, that way this is drawing your eye back to this. You know, it's giving you some direction to go in. This is pointing well over this way, but you know, don't feel like you need to keep everything perfectly square. I mean, you know, even just putting a satellite dish, you know, silhouette on there, and then you could even put in some faded windows, and it's not too strong, but it's giving it a little bit of dimension. And I think those are the things that I would do to change what you've got. And that's, like I said, it's a color choice to accent the blue, and that's going to push your bigger bot here in the foreground, and then you want to accent the other stuff to basically push it into the background a little bit more. All right, I hope that helps.